Fight!
If you've been following the series since I started, you're probably familiar with my review of Konami's hit Knightmare. If not, well, come on, there's only been 4 episodes yet. Well, 5 with this one. But shame on you, go watch it before you watch this video. Anyway, if you've watched it, you'll remember that I mentioned a fan remake of the game and I wasn't sure when or if the project would come out. Well, as it turns out, the game was finally released pretty much right after the video was done, and to cut a long story short, I was contacted by Demon Video Games, the developers, to test it and possibly review it. So I tried the game and I was impressed right off the bat. It's indeed a very impressive fan creation. Now, before I continue, I want to say that I wasn't paid or offered anything for this. I was offered a free download of the game, but then again, the game is free, so yeah, that doesn't count. What I mean is that I have no vested interest in the game or the team, and I'm only doing this review purely because this is MSX related and as a fan I want to cover it. Anyway, my first impression is that it looks beautiful. The level layout has been in its large part respected, with some items exactly where you'd expect to find them. The music has been revamped, although I'm a hardcore fan of the original and MIDI composition don't really do anything for me, but still it's a great effort and it keeps the main melodies intact, which I like very much. It plays just as well as the original, and Knightmare fans should be right at home with this title. But the version that I played at the time was hard. I mean, this was hard as hell. The original was hard, but at least I was able to clear it. Unfortunately, I was only able to make it to level 2 only to be killed in one particular spot, again and again, leaving me to abandon the game and telling the guys at Demon Video Game that I couldn't in good faith review the game because, well, I hadn't been able to play it. Until Demon Video Game listened to their fan feedback and released the gold version at the end of July, drastically improving the game. You see, my main issue with fan remakes is that they're walking too fine a line. Hardcore fans will want a faithful recreation of the original, sticking to the same layouts, mechanics and gameplay, which leads me to the same question. If it's that close to the original, why bother at all with it, and why not play the original game or emulate it? Which to me was the case with a Knightmare Remake, until they released the gold version. The new iteration added more playable characters, and I know that this doesn't make sense in the story, but when you start seeing the game as a celebration as opposed to a recreation, then you can accept much more. Besides, it's rather keeping with the Konami spirit of games like Parodius. In fact, some Konami games had multiple card cheats that allowed you to change your ship to a different character. That was actually an interesting property of the Konami cards. You could combine them to unlock some cheats, but I'll probably make a separate episode on this and the Game Master. New weapons were added, like the Trident or the Shurikens. Again, hardly a Greek weapon, but to be fair, neither were the boomerangs. Some bug fixing, and most important of all, the difficulty setting, making the game much more playable and setting the difficulty to a more gradual slope as opposed to punishing you right off the start. And this makes a huge difference because I can now test the game properly and appreciate it. In a nutshell, being a huge fan of the original game, I love this new iteration. As I said, it looks beautiful. I love the new design on the existing monsters, that mix of badass and cartoon, and I probably would have gone a different route on some of them, but that's just me, and I can't blame an artist for having a personal vision of what some of the elements and monsters were. I'm especially impressed with the control feel. The game allows you to configure keyboard or joystick, and I like to play with the keyboard, so it just feels like the original game to me. Smooth, precise and fun. So do I like the game now? Yes. Yes, I do. The Gold Edition adds just that little tweak needed, and I can honestly recommend it as a fun introduction to the original game. And the best part is, it's a free game. That's right, the game is entirely free to download. And while the motivation behind it might be to promote the engine it uses, the Nerlaska engine, I'm not familiar with it, but well, I'm totally cool with that because it's clear that the game was made by a team of enthusiasts who care about the original product and their own creation. So go check out Knightmare Remake Gold Edition. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I know this wasn't strictly retro gaming or MSX related, but well, you know, I wanted to cover the game, so what the hell. I'd be curious to hear from you if you've tried this game or both games and how you feel they compare. I personally like them both, but it's MSX stuff, and I'm very biased when it comes to MSX. That's just the way it is. If you want to see more, you can always subscribe, Patreon, Facebook, whatever. You know how it works.